Alrighty, everyone, welcome to part 5 of our Pokemon X and Y playthrough.
Yo, everyone!
Today we're aiming to make it to Shalour City, and hopefully Joe will be able to take on the gym there, so please remember to hit that like button and subscribe if you enjoy our content.
That's right, Obama, and we want to thank you all for the amazing comments in our last video. So many of you told us which was the first shiny Pokemon you ever caught, and there were so many comments to read, it took a good afternoon to get through them all. But it was worth it.
Yeah, so many of you remember that special moment when you encounter a shiny Pokemon for the first time. It was really lovely to read.
Yeah, so for this episode, please let us know in the comments what your all-time favorite Pokemon is and why. And for those whose favorite is Arceus, you'll be
Okay, I'm going to interrupt Donald here and say that if anyone's favorite Pokemon is Arceus, we shall be ignoring that comment, otherwise the moron here will hijack that comment and probably pin it, as well as ignore all the other lovely viewers who comment.
Listen here, Obama. Arceus should get the same treatment as any other Pokemon our viewers comment about, so the fact you're banning it is ridiculous. This isn't a competition battle scenario, you know.
Yeah, talking of battles, I've randomly been challenged to battle this Lucario out of nowhere. This is the same one that was harassing me earlier as well. What the hell?
This Lucario has the hots for you, Joe. Whenever he sees you, he can't get enough of you. I bet he's stalking you, ha ha ha.
Okay, I think we should ask our viewers about this situation since we're here, Donald. Basically, Joe, this Lucario is going to be ours, but I wasn't sure whether or not to use it in this team. I mean, we haven't used one before, so we could now.
I think we should, Obama, because when will we get the chance to use Lucario again in a playthrough and have it Mega Evolve, which is the whole point of this game anyway?
Hang on, Donald, did you just see that?
See what, Obama? What the hell are you on about?
Yeah, Obama, what you chatting, bro?
I guess it was nothing. Now, what were you just saying, Donald, before I cut you off again?
I was saying how using Lucario in this playthrough is the best option since we first of all don't have to evolve a Riolu, which means less work for Joe, and it can Mega Evolve, which is the main point of this game.
You know what, Donald? Those are some great points to make there, and I totally agree with you. And I think you two should keep discussing this topic and don't mind me.
Well, I'm going to need to put a stop to our conversation right here, Joe, because Frogadier just died, and you know what that means?
I can't remember what that means. What are you on about, Obama? Please keep talking.
Joe, what in the actual fuck is this?
LMFAO, so that's why you wanted us to keep talking, Joe. I see you had the perfect name for that Eevee you caught in the last episode all along, and I think this name is absolutely perfect for it. Especially since Donald insists on being named after a Pokémon in each of our playthroughs.
Yeah, named after cool Pokemon like Arceus or Yveltal Obama. Not an Eevee, and on top of this disgrace, it's a girl one too. How can you name a girl Eevee after me, Joe?
Fine, I can change it, Donald. How does Donita sound? I think that would be even better, actually.
Joe, you're not naming it Donita either, holy hell. Name it something else, or when you're not looking, I'll release the little shit. And it's not like you'll remember you even caught one in the first place unless Obama reminds you.
Which is something I will absolutely do, Donald, if you release that poor little Eevee. And if anything, that Eevee is suffering by having your name compared to you being named after an Eevee.
I can't believe this is happening. Joe, if you're gonna go on with this little charade, then at least go back to Route 10 and catch a male one for fuck's sake.
See, now you're being a misogynist again, Donald. Why don't you embrace this little development? And this is also to teach you to start liking Sylveon, because I can see it becoming our MVP.
That's the biggest bunch of BS I have ever heard, Joe. We're gonna have Yveltal on our team, and you're already saying a stupid little pink dog thing is gonna be our MVP? How much of that cocaine has gone up your nose since our last episode?
I was on your side up until you went and said Sylveon is going to be the MVP, Joe, because as much as I like it, it's just not going to be our MVP. But it will definitely be a valuable member, and we're sticking with the name Donald for it. And if you release it, Donnie, then I'll catch another female one for Joe.
Well, it's not like we're going to get Sylveon anytime soon, is it, Obama? I have to play mini games or whatever with it. And then it has to learn a fairy-type move, too, on level up, which shouldn't be too difficult, but still. This feels more like a chore than anything else.
You know I agree with Joe that evolving this Pokemon definitely feels like a chore. I'd rather watch Joe train up 3 dragon types than watch him train up this one Eevee.
You're only saying that, Donald, because you don't want us to use Sylveon, so shut your mouth.
Hey, I just realized we won't be using Lucario either, since the next 3 members of our team are going to be Goomy, Honedge, and Yveltal. And then that's our team complete, isn't it, boys?
Oh yeah, Joe's right there, Obama. Seems like no Lucario for us then, which is fine anyway because everyone loves Goomy, and I thought you said you'd get us a shiny Hone Edge. What's going on with that then?
Yeah, I asked my friend Donald, who is actually a real person, and not some made-up Russian fellow like you're always going on about. And by the next episode, we should have our Hone Edge named Arthur. It's probably the Pokémon I'm looking forward to the most out of all our playthroughs, actually.
Hey, look, boys, it's another cave. And hang on, isn't this the cave which has a multiverse in it? I remember in the anime, Ash, Serena, Bonnie, and Clement fell into the mirrors, and an alternate form of themselves came out the other side.
Yeah, that's right, Joe. Maybe you can fall into one of the mirrors and we can get an alternate form of you. I think Donald would appreciate that too.
Yeah, maybe the new Joe Biden will be a Republican like me, LMFAO, and not have dementia, and generally be an all-around cool dude that we can all get along with and not bully because he's so pathetic.
And what if an alternate Donald Trump came out who was a Democrat and not a fatty, and also not the biggest bully on the planet? That's also a possibility, you know, Donnie.
Well, Joe, that wouldn't happen because I would go through every single universe where I exist and take all my counterparts out so there's only one Donald J. Trump. Then everything will be perfectly balanced, or whatever it was Thanos said.
That's all well and good, Donald. But what if your counterparts in the other universes are also planning the same thing? I mean, they're all you, so the chances of them thinking like you are also very high. Then what will you do?
Well, Obama, I'd tell you exactly what I'd do. I would host a huge battle royale for all the Donald Trumps to fight, and whoever is the last one standing will be the one to fight me to the death.
Hey, I'd even pay to see that Donnie. I'd grab me some popcorn and soda and maybe a glass of Hennessy and sit back and watch a bunch of Donalds fight gladiator style.
Hey, look, you two. Since we're talking about Donald so much, let me take you back to the beginnings of our Pokémon Black and White playthrough when we used the Pokémon we're battling right now. Salute to Throw, which we named Donald back in the day.
Yeah, that Throw was one tough cookie, Obama, and I do miss him and wonder what he's up to these days. I mean, we did release him, if I remember correctly.
More than that dumb Throw Donald is our Toge Kiss, which you rudely released in our Heart Gold playthrough. That was probably the most sad I've ever felt in my life. Now that's a Pokemon I wonder about a lot.
Tough shit, Joe. We got a Dragonite, which is way better. But anyway, back to X and Y. This Pokemon Halucha is amazing. And if we didn't already have our team built, then I'd use it. Although we already have Charizard as our flying type.
Ash's one in the anime was goated, and I agree, Donald. However, we will be using Yveltal, which is a flying type too, but that gets a pass because it's a legendary.
Yeah, it's a really strong Pokemon, and I have a question regarding that. Do you think Pokemon which can't evolve get a higher stats right off the bat because of the fact that they can't evolve?
Hey, you make a fair point there, Joe. Remember, our Heracross was already amazingly strong to begin with, so I think you're right about that. We can't really include legendary Pokemon in this conversation because they're legendary and already really strong to begin with.
Well, here we are, everyone, finally at Shalour City. No thanks to Joe, we got lost in the damn cave, so had to edit a lot of that out, but anyway, let's rejoice as we can finally take on Karina for our third gym badge.
Yeah, to the surprise of absolutely no one. The Muppet went round in circles 3 times without even realizing it, but regardless, Joe, don't make a mess of the gym battle. I suggest we do some training with our Charmeleon because it will learn Wing Attack then.
Before I can even do that, Donald, I just got ambushed by these 2 morons again. They continue to jump me out of nowhere, and I'm getting fed up with it now. But anyway, they're talking about how we should go find some fellow called the Mega Evolution Guru.
If this guy we're gonna find knows so much about Mega Evolution, then why can't the professor go talk to him instead of making us go all the way here?
Obama, you're always the one asking the right questions, but sadly for you, we shall never know the answer, and regardless, it'll be good for Joe to learn more about Mega Evolution so he can become a better trainer like me and you.
Well, Donald, I could beat this game without even using Mega Evolution if I wanted, just FYI. But I choose not to because it's fun, and it's my first time using it as well since Obama never let me have a go in Omega Ruby.
Hey, look, boys, Tierno is back, and he says he has something for you, Joe.
Nice, he gave us the intriguing stone, which could be a keystone or an evolution stone, Joe. How nice of him. He's the only friend who's actually been useful for us so far in this playthrough.
Wow, look at that tower, boys. It looks really scary and intimidating, and that's where the guru is, apparently. It looks like a place Dracula could live instead of a guru.
Joe, stop being a little bitch and pull your big boy pants up and storm the place demanding to see this self-proclaimed guru. It's about time we get to use Mega Evolution, and all we need is to see if that stone Tierno got us was an actual keystone or not.
This place does have an ominous feeling to it, though. I guess it could be the lighting, but either way, Joe, check the place out and then head through that green door with the Mega symbol on it.
Hey, that was an awesome-looking statue of Mega Lucario right there in the middle, boys. If we keep the one you said will be given, then it'll look like that when we Mega Evolve.
No, Joe, because our team is better without Lucario, and look, the guru here is Karina's grandfather.
Yeah, that's right, Donald. He has a name, but I can't remember what it is yet. Not that it's even important, because I think we're about to get a lecture about Mega Evolution, boys.
Remember, I'm a professor too, Obama, and I bet I could give everyone a better lecture than this idiot can with his ridiculous-looking eyebrows too. I mean, look at them. What kind of fashion choice is that?
The funny thing is, he hasn't even started talking about Mega Evolution yet, Donald. All he said is that he's the guru, which is quite egotistical, first of all, and second of all. I agree with you, Donald, about his stupid eyebrows.
His eyebrows remind me of an Alolan golem, if you all know what that looks like. But hey, look, Joe, the whole gang is together now. We haven't been with all of our friends like this since we left for our journey.
Yeah, it's actually quite nice that our gang is here like this, Obama. Look how close they all seem. And if you think about it, we only became friends with them a few hours ago, if you count the in-game time we've been playing for LMAO.
Look, the guru is finally imparting his Mega Evolution knowledge to us boys. And he's basically telling me everything I already know, the dumbass. We saw all this in Omega Ruby when Obama played.
Well, actually, Joe, we should have played this game before Omega Ruby, as far as continuity goes in the story, but either way, you're right in that he's not telling us anything new. Basically, you gotta have a Mega Stone and Keystone, and then boom.
If that was your attempt at giving a Pokemon lecture, Obama, then that was shockingly bad. But how comes this guy is still talking about Mega Evolution crap when we already know everything?
Hang on, Donald, before you keep ranting. Look, I am randomly being challenged to a battle with Serena for some reason which makes no sense. Who the fuck starts a battle challenge in the middle of a Pokemon lecture?
Well, Joe, this is where Professor Donald Trump can step in because Obama forgot the most crucial step when it comes to Mega Evolution, which is something we didn't even talk about in Omega Ruby, but what you need is a strong bond with your Pokemon for it to Mega Evolve.
Yep, good point there, Donald. Also, I think we have to battle Serena to see which of you has the strongest bond with their Pokemon Joe, which means basically whoever wins this battle has that bond. Not that it means anything anyway in this game.
What do you mean by that, Obama?
Let me step in here, Joe, because I know what he means. Basically, in Sword and Shield and other newer games, our Pokemon will do things like tough it out for us if they're about to get one shot in a battle, which is only possible if we have a high friendship with them.
Wow, yeah, that is what I meant, Donnie. I really like that feature because it feels like our Pokemon actually care for us and want us to be proud of them, even though we all know they're really just a bunch of colored polygons.
Yeah, it would make sense for that to be a feature in this game, since Mega Evolution is all dependent on friendship. But regardless, here we are anyway. And look, Serena caught herself an Absol, what the hell?
Well, I guess this is going to be her Mega Pokemon eventually, then, boys. Since this thing can Mega Evolve when she gets the Keystone for it. And what do you two think about Mega Absol?
I think it suits Serena well, Joe, but that's about it. I really don't like Mega Absol, but I love the normal one. I think it just looks stupid when it randomly grows some wings and looks like a fucking unicorn.
Yeah, I also get unicorn vibes off Mega Absol too, Donald. I mean, that blade on its head already looks like a horn, kinda.
I remember when I first saw this thing in the Hoenn anime series, and I thought it was a legendary Pokemon with the way they were portraying it. It looked so strong and mysterious.
Joe, you're so stupid you would think that Bidoof is a legendary Pokemon if you didn't have us to tell you, you fool.
Hey, I bet there's at least one person on this planet who thinks Bidoof deserves the status as legendary. I mean, the official Pokemon YouTube channel even made a whole song about Bidoof.
I remember that song, Joe. It was an absolute banger. And look, Serena evolved her Chespin into Quilladin. This is one chonky boy for sure.
Chonky is an understatement here, Obama. This thing is so round that we could use it as a bowling ball. I bet that's how it moves about, by rolling itself up into a ball.
Yeah, it rolls around like a panda would, Donald, and it's so cute when they do that.
Okay, well, I think this is the third time our Frogadier has died now in this one episode, boys. And Donald, you kept going on about how it would never die and is immortal and basically a god, and now look.
Don't you dare blame Frogadier, Obama. It receives commands from its trainer, which in this case is the apparent champion Joe Biden, and he's the one who went and got it killed. And by the way, I bought him some revives off screen too, and he's not even used them.
You were the one who said it would never fail me, though, Donald, and without Charmeleon, I would have lost that battle. And I actually do use the revives after the battle has been won, just so you know.
Joe, the whole point is to use them during the battle too, you dumbass. You've been playing long enough to know that, and I don't know why you're not doing it. It takes 5 seconds to use them seriously.
I know you're making valid points there, Donald, and I will take the title of dumbass, but mostly I find it so much effort to waste a turn reviving a Pokémon when we can just use another one to kill the opponent. The only time I feel like it's worth using revives is like when we do champion battles.
You know what, Donald? Joe makes a good point there, and let's be honest. The only reason you're upset with him is because you were raving about how Frogadier will never die, and then it does 3 times already.
Well, I will admit that I'm upset because my point would have stood true if Joe had only used a hyper potion or something on our Frogadier.
All right, boys, those idiots would not shut up. So I decided to make my way to the gym whilst my friends kept talking. And apparently this battle is more than just a standard gym battle.
Yeah, that's right, Joe. I think this is more of a test from that Mega Evolution guru, or I should say, Karina's grandfather. And if we win, we also happen to get a gym battle at the end of it too.
We'll easily win, Obama, and also isn't this such a cool gym too? It's full of grind rails and other skaters just going around having fun. But to get to Karina, Joe, I think you have to battle 3 of these trainers.
This gym is going to be a cakewalk for me like the last one. Donnie, don't worry.
Alrighty, Joe, we'll see about that. This trainer has led off with a sock first, and we saw its counterpart earlier in throw. And well, this is a fighting type gym, so I hope you took my advice to train up Charmeleon.
Okay, well, holy shit, that sock almost took us out in one shot there, Joe. You said this was going to be a cakewalk, and this is the first battle here, and it's already going to hell.
Well, we all know Joe isn't going to bother healing, and you're lucky that Frogadier will most likely outspeed everything in this gym. Joe, meaning we'll get more attacks in.
Yeah, Frogadier came in clutch there just now. And my water pulse took out that sock whilst just about hanging on, and now this trainer is sending out the tanky Hariyama.
Hariyama is like the cooler version of Snorlax, don't you two think? First of all, it would absolutely slap Snorlax into oblivion since fighting is super effective against normal. And all Snorlax does is sleep too, kind of like you, Joe.
Yeah, well, Hariyama is about to meet its maker, Donald, and by the way, I actually did take your advice and do some training. Although I might have got a bit carried away, I really just wanted to train Eevee up more than anything, to be honest.
That fucking Eevee has done jack shit in this episode so far, Joe. You've barely used it, and I feel its only purpose was to piss me off.
I will neither confirm nor deny that for Joe Donnie. But anyway, on to the next trainer, Joe. I don't actually think we have to battle all the trainers in this gym to reach Karina too, by the way.
God, I hope so, Obama. It's so boring watch Joe battle sometimes. He doesn't provide the same entertainment as you or I do. I'd rather watch paint dry.
Donald, you just come barging into every battle with your arms flailing about like some sort of maniac, thinking you're the top G when you're not. And anyway, out of the 3 of us, Obama is the only one who's actually never lost one battle.
I'm sure his time is coming, Joe. Just you wait, and now look. It's a Pancham. And this Pokemon was in the anime. Serena used one, and we also got a request to use one from one of our viewers.
And it just took out Frogadier again, Donald. That makes this the 4th death now. And meanwhile, Donald the Eevee and Charmeleon haven't died once. It's clear who the MVPs are already.
Nah, this is some proper bullshit now. Joe, you're doing this on purpose, aren't you? Just to make Frogadier look bad as well as me and make this stupid Eevee look like it's some sort of god.
I'm just playing how I always do, Donnie. And anyway, this Eevee is named after you, and I thought you would have liked to be considered a god since you always love it when people worship you.
Yeah, I want statues built of me, Joe, looking like I do right now as a human. Not as an Eevee, thank you very much.
I think you mean as a Sylveon Donald because that's what we will be using as soon as this thing evolves, and then we're stuck with it for the rest of the game. And hey, look, you did really good battling and winning against this Pancham.
You know, I feel like Pancham is just a rip-off of Teddy Ursa and Ursaring. I mean, they're both bears and basically look the same, except one is a grizzly bear and the other is a glorified panda bear.
Well, Joe, you moron, they're based of actual bears in the real world. And more than one bear species does exist, you know? With your logic, Cubchoo is a ripoff too when it's clearly a polar bear. But out of all the bear Pokemon, Stuffle is my favorite, and beware.
Oh, hell yeah. Donnie Stuffle is the most adorable one ever, and I loved its little story arc in the Sun and Moon anime series. And Beware was an absolute gangster too.
Ooh, looky look, boys. Our Charmeleon is finally evolving into Charizard, which means we can destroy Karina with our Mega Charizard Y, and I can finally prove to you, Donald, that it's better than X.
Okay, well, it's just not Joe. And also, we still don't have our Keystone either, so you'll have to wait a bit longer if you want to prove anything to me, buddy. And anyway, I think you'll be able to take on Karina now, too.
Yeah, and look, perfect timing, Donald. Charizard is learning Wing Attack, which will be the move to destroy this gym. And the best thing is, it has like 35 power points for me to use.
Okay, Joe, I hope you're prepared for this battle other than using Charizard. You have to prepare for every eventuality, remember. And I can't even remember what her team is, so you're going in blind, but I believe in you.
She came in with a flashy entrance there, Joe, like some sort of battle dance to throw you off. But don't worry, it's basically a 3 versus 1 battle when you have Obama and myself backing you up.
Okay, thanks for the moral support there, my boys. And she's leading off with a Pokemon I've never used and know nothing about either. So I'm going to stick to my plan and use Wing Attack.
As you just saw, Joe, Meanfu here always tends to use Fake Out, and it did quite a bit of damage to us right off the bat there. Fake Out is kind of like the ability Sturdy, and that its sole purpose is to piss the player off.
OMG, imagine a Pokemon with Fake Out and Sturdy at the same time. That would be the worst thing ever, and I would have a word with whichever smartass came up with that idea at Game Freak.
Okay, Donald, I just revived Hanzo during our battle like you wanted me to, and I only did it as a backup, but now I'm glad I did because this Machoke has Rock Tomb of all moves.
Yeah, did not expect Machoke to have Rock Tomb, but I bet they taught it to Machoke knowing that someone would come in here with a flying type, and, well, Karina's strategy worked.
Joe, that was the first attack you actually got off on Machoke in the last like 5 minutes, bro. See, if it was me, this battle would have been over by now since I would have healed Charizard right off the bat and then spammed Wing Attack. That would have been my strat anyway.
You know, I was actually getting amazed because you almost went the whole battle without providing me with any of your opinions, Donald. But that was all just crushed in an instant.
You know you love my opinions, Joe, and now look, she's sending out a Hawlucha, and we've dealt with these before, so I expect this to be a clean sweep battle, Joe.
Well, this battle certainly didn't go as I expected it to. I thought it would have been a cakewalk, kind of like Grant's was, but this was way harder. And I thought Charizard would have been useful.
Joe, if you're not careful, this Hawlucha is going to take out Frogadier for like the 5th time now. That is quite bad because this was meant to be the Greninja of all Greninjas, and it's so far been worse than the one we used in Omega Ruby.
I would like to add that it's not even a Greninja yet, Obama. And I think I did say that when we had Greninja, it would then be the best and MVP. So just give it time, and I promise you shall be rewarded, Joe.
Well, so far Charizard has been the best of our team, Donald, and then yourself as Eevee, and finally Frogadier, so I hope you're right about it, living up to what our other one achieved. But anyway, boys, check it out. I beat Karina, and now we have 3 Gym Kalos badges.
Just trust me, Joe, but well done for beating her. And see, you didn't even use Eevee in the entirety of that battle, which shows how much faith you had in me. You had absolutely 0 faith.
Okay, well, on that note, boys, I say we end this episode here for now. It was a longer one than usual, slightly, so we hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, then please consider hitting the like and subscribe buttons.
Yeah, and in the next episode, we shall be taking her on again, actually, but this time in a Mega Evolution battle, so get yourself ready for that, Joe. But anyway, thanks for watching, everyone, and have a lovely rest of your week.
Bye-bye, everyone.